Yes, it is Monday, fun day. Welcome in, you six sums of bitches. It's another edition of the Joe Ranieri Show, brought to you by WagerTalk.com and Miami Acura, as well as Thrive Fantasy. Want to invite you guys to try the coolest, the newest, the latest in prop betting. This is an amazing app. I killed it over the weekend playing in these DFS tournaments at Thrive Fantasy. For those of you that are new to it, just on my Twitter page, head over to my Twitter page. You guys will see the link. Click on the link. Join the fun. It is a killer. You will never bet DraftKings and FanDuel again, guys, after you try Thrive Fantasy. It is that cool. It's all about prop betting. And you still got some time to get in some tournaments for the NBA tonight. They got a Monday Night Football tournament that you can get into. I mean, you can download $10 to start. They'll match it, and I'm telling you, you guys will have a field day, and I'll be kicking your ass. But it's on Twitter. If you guys see it, just scroll down, hit the Thrive Fantasy link there. They'll get you all set up. They'll give you my bonus, all of that good stuff. You'll love it, I promise. I hope your Monday has been going better than a lot of people's weekend, because the weekend destroyed a lot of people. If you're looking on the chat rooms and the chat sites, a lot of people lost their ass over the week. You had all sorts of underdogs that covered by a long shot. The public not very happy with what's going on. Watch Buffalo cover the damn over by themselves. The Tennessee Titans taking care of Tom Brady. You had the Cowboys last night, national game, Sunday night game, taking care of business on the road in Philadelphia. A lot of upsets, a lot of people not happy, which is why today we're going to bring on one of our favorite cappers that we bring on the show. And you guys know I only bring on the true pros, the guys that aren't afraid to admit when they're wrong. They'll tell you they're winners, but they'll also tell you where they were wrong in their losers. Transparency is what is the mark of a real professional, and the guys that I bring on this show are just that. They're real pros, and today I'm going to bring back the captain. Captain Captain Capping, Captain Capping. He's going to join us here bottom of the hour with a very important message for you, those of you that bet on sports. It's a message that goes unheard sometimes, and it's worth repeating. He also has a thought on tonight, San Francisco 49ers, and who is it? The Giants? I can't even believe it's like two MAC teams, really. The 49ers and the Giants tonight. Oh, God. But he does have a thought on that because there is actually some value to be had with one of the teams playing tonight. So we'll talk to you that. I want to get this message out because it's important. I want to remind you up top, that's how you reach us here on the show, 855-983-2255. This is the part of the show where we turn over to our lunatics that are hanging out in the chat room with us. They join us. Hesil77 hanging out on YouTube. It's a pleasure to see you. Mr. Skunt. That's right, with a capital S and a capital K. I'm not sure why they're both capital, but Mr. Skunt is joining us. Always a pleasure to see you, my friend. Let's see who else. We got Jeremy joining us. Kentucky Lucky is in there. Villaman, Julian, Aaron, also good to see you guys. It's a pleasure every time that you join us here in the chat rooms. We invite you, hang out in the chat room with these guys. They are a blast when I tell you, but they know their shit, and so don't go in there and be thin-skinned and get offended that easily. Probably not the chat rooms for you, but these guys are great. They're an awful lot of fun, and more importantly, they are very knowledgeable. And you better know your shit when you go into those chat rooms because they will call you out. Also, Twitch, want to say hello to our corporate stealing friend, Mr. Count Dracula, hanging out and stealing corporate time like he does every Monday through Friday. He streams the show, which is what we love about him because he doesn't do any work. None. He just steals. He mails it in at the end of the day and hangs out with us here on this show, and we love him for that. So thank you very much. It's a pleasure seeing you guys. Join the chat room. Say hello. It's a community, guys. That's what we are here. We're a community of sports-loving fanatics who dabble in sports betting. We enjoy our teams. We like having fun. And more importantly, we love stealing corporate time. So it's good to see all of you guys. Thank you very much for the support. And once again, we ask that you subscribe, like, share this with your friends. Mr. Dracula there over on Twitch, the real creepy dude behind you in the cubicle. Tell him to log on. Tell him to subscribe and like. All the support. It doesn't go unnoticed. I certainly do appreciate it, guys. And in turn, we're going to bring you a whole bunch of great information today. Miami is a hot mess. It's sports teams. It is brutal here. You guys know we broadcast from sunny South Florida. And Miami right now is going through a bit of a transition. For the longest time, this town over the years has transitioned from a purely Dolphins town to a Marlins town mixed in with a couple of championships in the mid-'90s, late '90s, to a Miami Heat town by far. And then you mix in one or two seasons early on with the Panthers, and everybody jumped on that bandwagon. But for the most part, over the last 10 to 15 years, this is not owned by the Dolphins anymore. Once Shula went away, nobody gave a shit about the Dolphins anymore. This is all about the Miami Heat. And the problem with the Miami Heat is they are as mediocre as they come. So there is nothing to root for there. Oh, and I should mention, yes, Miami Hurricanes. This was also a Miami Hurricanes town for the longest time. You guys know that. Early 2000s, it was all Miami Hurricanes. The problem is Miami Hurricanes have been as mediocre and less than mediocre as they come until, of course, last year when Mark Richt showed up, and now everyone's been getting on the Miami Hurricanes bandwagon. The problem is they have underachieved, and they are just hot garbage here this year. And there is a lot of finger-pointing, and there is a lot of drama surrounding the Miami Hurricanes. There's even more drama surrounding the Miami Dolphins, who the calls for Adam Gase's job it's fire everybody. It's not fun here to be somebody that has to cover these teams. The Miami Heat were only, about 24 games into the season in the NBA, and the Miami Heat fans have just lost their mind already. It's an 82-game season. We still got 70-some-odd games to go, but Miami Heat fans have completely They don't accept mediocrity on any level. They have been spoiled for as long as they know it. It's nice to have, thank goodness, it's the Dwayne Wade farewell party here, and at least they have that to hang their hat on. But for the most part, Miami Heat fans are going out of their minds that there are just nothing to be excited about. Now that Jimmy Butler has decided he's going to go to the Philadelphia 76ers, that was the last thing that Heat fans were holding hope for, was that maybe we can get Jimmy Butler down here and it would make things interesting. But now that Butler has moved on, it's disgusting what's happening here. If you follow any of the Heat guys, I invite you guys. The 5 Reasons Sports guys are great. They cover the Miami Heat like nobody else. Make sure that you guys check those out. Check them out. But they are a mess, when I tell you, an absolute mess. And one of the guys that covers, and I don't know how he does this, and I appreciate him to all hell, is Antoine Staley from USA Today and Athlon Sports. This is a guy that has to, week in and week out, he has to cover the Miami Dolphins and the Miami Hurricanes. Could you imagine having that job, guys? He's got to sit there and go to the press box, and he's got to put his game face on, and he's got to watch that hot garbage going on each and every week. And it's not easy. When I tell you, it is not easy to do. So I want to know from him, and we're going to talk to him in just a minute. I want to know from him, who's the bigger disappointment? Who's the bigger failure? Is it Mark Richt and the Miami Hurricanes, or is it Adam Gase and the Miami Dolphins? That's what we're going to ask him coming up. Don't forget, we're going to have some information, a message that is so important that you guys get, and we're going to share it with you with one of our favorite cappers here on the show, Captain Capping. It's a message that unfortunately doesn't get heard enough, doesn't get said enough, and for those of you that participate in sports betting, it's a message you need to hear. And we're going to talk to him coming up here in just about 15 minutes. But first, I got to thank one of my sponsors. You guys know that. We love our peeps over at Miami Acura, South Dixie Highway, Palmetto Bay. They invite you to go take a test drive, the all-new 2019 RDX. What are you guys waiting for? Go get the car you've always wanted, only get it at a price you never thought possible. Why? Well, you can do that by heading over to Miami Acura. Again, South Dixie Highway, for those of you in the 305. The deals at the end of the year right now are unlike anything that we have ever seen. It's all new. It's all redesigned. It's got every bell and whistle. It's like driving in your living room. I'm telling you guys, if you're in the market for a new or certified pre-owned car, no better place to go than Miami Acura. Hit them up, miamiacura.com, or simply call them at 855-564-4669. Well, guys, it is Monday. It is the day that most of us just kind of lick our wounds, kind of have a little reflection, kind of look back as to what could have been, what should have been, but what wasn't. It really is the story of the life here in Miami with the teams that we have to watch and we have to endure. And I'm telling you, I feel so bad for this guy. I don't know how he does it on a day in and day out basis. He must have to take 3 months off at the end of the year. But Antoine Staley joins us, USA Today, Athlon Sports. He covers not only the Miami Dolphins, but he also covers the Miami Hurricanes, two teams that are surrounded by drama this year. He joins us on the Miami Acura hotline. And Antoine, I'm telling you, man, it's either a Xanax, a Chardonnay, and I don't know what kind of combination, brother, but I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, like I say, just imagine doing it for years. And then, yeah, it's rough right now.
It is brutal. All right, let me ask you, I mean, right to the point. Who is a bigger failure this year, Adam Gase or Mark Richt?
It's my University of Miami. We have to remember they're a top 10 team coming into the year. They're projected to win maybe 10 games again this year, and not only they're not at the top 10, they're not even ranked. They're not even relevant. People aren't even talking about the University of Miami unless you're in the city of Miami or in South Florida. So I think that was a bigger disappointment. I don't know if many people thought the Dolphins were going to make the playoffs. They thought they definitely thought they had an opportunity to, but I think the Dolphins have been so bad for years. They've just been mediocre, and I think that's exactly what people thought they were going to be.
Well, let me ask you then, because then should Adam Gase, a man who's gotten a ton of criticism, not only from the media locally but nationally, I mean, should we be talking about this guy as doing one of the best, making mountains out of anthills here? I mean, is he doing the best he can with what he's given?
I don't think so. I think he deserves some criticism because of the way he utilizes his offense, and also the fact that he helped build this team for what it is. He refused to go get a quarterback, knowing Ryan Tannehill had an injury history. He brings in Brock Osweiler and also David Fales, thinking that might be the answer at the backup quarterback position. Neither one of them was the answer, even though we hadn't seen David Fales. But if he can't beat out Osweiler, what does that tell you? It might be even worse than Osweiler, which I think he probably is. So, and also the offense hasn't scored an offensive touchdown in 9 quarters. That's embarrassing, considering the fact that you saw what the Bills did to the Jets yesterday. They just completely obliterated the Jets all over the field on their home turf, and the Dolphins can't even get a touchdown. I understand that they have a ton of injuries right now, but I think a lot of the criticism goes to him, and also the failure to utilize Kenyon Drake properly also falls on him.
It was watching that game yesterday against Green Bay, and Antoine Staley joining us, USA Today, Athlon Sports, and 4 times early on in that game, man, gave themselves every opportunity, found themselves in the red zone, and just couldn't capitalize. Do you look at that, Antoine, as you're watching it? Do you think it was play calling? Was it just all on Brock Osweiler? Or let's face it, do some of the guys that are healthy got to step up and they're not?
I think just his play calling, but some of it is because you're refusing to run the football in those situations. You saw Frank Gore; he had a great first half. You went away from that. Just keep running the football. I thought, especially with the way their offensive line was constructed yesterday, with both starting tackles out, and also your starting left guard out. Just run the football. Have the football in Brock Osweiler's hand as little amount of times as possible, and just put it in Frank Gore, and he usually gets you positive yardage more often than not. And he ended up having a really good, terrific game with 90 yards. I would have just kept on running the football. Obviously, we've seen what Brock Osweiler can and can't do, and I feel like it's better just to rely more on the running game. And, yeah, they ran the ball pretty well, but I feel like considering their quarterback situation, they should have kept running the football a whole lot against the Packers.
Yeah, and I know the defense has also been plagued by injuries this year. We know that. I mean, it hasn't been great for them either on that side of the ball. Chase Allen, William Hayes, Tankersley, Vincent Taylor, all on injured reserve. But I got to tell you, the defense, for the most part, did their job yesterday. Unfortunately, the offense kept putting them in positions that they were in no-win positions on the road against Aaron Rodgers. But I thought the defense over the last 2 weeks really started to come together. Did you see the same thing?
They played better. They play better now. They did give up nearly 200 yards rushing yesterday, which is obviously a not good sign. But I felt like they played better than what they had previously towards the Jets game. Obviously, the Jets. I don't know what to take away from that win, because you know how bad the Jets are. I don't need to necessarily tell you that, but yeah, it's hard to take away anything from that other than the fact that they won. But yeah, I thought the defense played. They did about what you could do. I guess you could say that. With all the injuries and you playing up against Aaron Rodgers, who's one of the best quarterbacks of all time. They were able to get to him a little bit, get some pressure on him, but in the end, of course, a great quarterback is always going to usually win out of that situation.
Antoine Staley joining us, Athlon Sports, USA Today. Covers the Dolphins, covers the Canes, covers UF, covers everything, covers everything, man. All teams that are terrible, too, right now. But what would you say, and I understand there is some good news for Tannehill and for Grant, who a lot of people yesterday were going, Achilles. But usually they don't let guys walk off the field or hop off the field with Achilles injuries. But I guess it's good news for both of these guys moving forward?
Well, Tannehill, we'll have to wait and see. He did throw on Sunday and with relatively no pain, according to Adam Gase. We'll see how he reacts. He's going to keep throwing through the bye week, and they won't practice again until next week. So we'll see how his arm can hold up. See if he's ready for the hold. It remains to be seen if he'll start that game, but at least it's a good sign that he's back to throwing again. As far as Grant, yeah, he didn't tear his Achilles from what a lot of people thought, but he did suffer an injury, and he's probably going to be out. He might be out a couple of weeks, or if not more. He could potentially miss the rest of the regular season, but at least it's not an Achilles tear, something that he would take 8 to 9 months to recover from. Devontae Parker, we're still trying to figure out what happened with him. He ended up leaving the game yesterday with his shoulder in the sling. So that's not necessarily a good sign for the Dolphins there.
Any luck on Laramie Tunsil? Do we know the bye week? Will he be able to come back? Are we expecting any long-term shelving of him?
I'm not sure about him. I know Jawan James, who was also out yesterday, the starting right tackle of the Dolphins. He said he should be good to go for the Colts game on November 25th. So that's a good sign there, having him back.
Well, the schedule, it's not easy, let's face it, as it lines up here, but they're still in it, Antoine, with the New England loss over against the Titans yesterday, which I don't think anybody saw coming. But they're still in it in this position, and it's hard for me to believe. It's hard for Dolphin fans, I think, to grasp that idea. But they are still in it. They still have a shot at that wild card spot, don't they? Or are you looking at this and going, the schedule is just too brutal, it's probably over?
Yeah, I know the Patriots, but that really doesn't mean anything because they're going to win the division. So I looked at the last one, and you got the Chargers. They're essentially, to me, going to lock up that first wild card spot. So it's really, you're fighting for one spot, and you got about 4 teams that you're fighting with. And the reason next Sunday, Sunday's game against the Colts, not this Sunday, but November 25th is so key because they're right behind you. They're 4-5. If you lose that game, now you're 5-6, and you lose the tiebreaker against the Colts. You also lose the tiebreaker against the Bengals as well, and the Titans, who you did beat. They may have a better record than you, so you're below all 3 of those teams. It looks kind of, especially considering you still have to play the Patriots at home. Even though I know the Dolphins have had success against them at home, but I don't know if they will this particular time. And you still have to go to Minnesota and play the Vikings, and you know how badly the Dolphins perform on the road. They only have 1 road win this year, and that's against the Jets. So that's not necessarily the way you want to go in to December.
With all of these injuries, Antoine, are we maybe looking at a different script if Ryan Tannehill doesn't get hurt, or given how many people are gone on the offensive line and the weapons, is it unfair to think that even Brock Osweiler, quarterback, but even with Ryan Tannehill in there, that we'd be looking at anything different right now?
Would the offense be a little bit better? Yeah, of course. I think Ryan Tannehill is obviously a better quarterback, but how much better would they be? I don't know. It's not like Ryan Tannehill is going to be make is going to be that much big of a difference maker. I think he's definitely he's an average quarterback. That's kind of how it is. And Osweiler is a backup quarterback, which I believe in the league. He's not necessarily a long-term starter. He's somebody that can come in and play some games for you and maybe win you a couple of games while your starter is injured, but he's not a long-term solution. I don't think Tannehill is either, but at least he's more of a starter material. He's average. He's somebody that's going to get you 7 or 8 wins a year, but I don't think he's somebody that's going to put you over the top and make you a contender team in the AFC.
Antoine Staley joining us, Athlon Sports USA Today. Miami Canes, has Rick lost the team? Is it stick a fork in him? Are they looking forward to the I don't give a crap bowl? What is the mood around the Miami Hurricanes right now, man?
Well, Rick said he's going to stick with N'Kosi Perry, quarterback. I know prior to then, especially in the Duke game, he was doing a merry-go-round with quarterbacks, just changing them in and out. And, he can't necessarily do that. He stuck with Perry the entire time against Georgia Tech. Obviously, that didn't work, but I thought Perry did a serviceable job during that game. So I'm curious to see how he's going to play against Virginia Tech on the road. They need to win one of the next 2 to get into a bowl game, and neither one of them are going to be easy. You got to travel to Blacksburg to play Virginia Tech, and then you play home against Pittsburgh, a team that's very close to winning the ACC Coastal Division. With a win on Saturday, they don't do that. The only hope they might have is if Pittsburgh already wraps up the Coastal, maybe they rest some of their players during that game, and maybe they can get the 6th win somehow. But yeah, they have to get 6 wins. If not, then once the season's over, once they play Pittsburgh, the season's over, and there's no more practices. And I think that's bad for players that you're trying to develop in the long term.
Well, there was a story out today that they had reached out. The university had reached out to Kelly Bryant, the transferring quarterback from Clemson, who left once Trevor Lawrence was anointed the next coming there. And there was, I guess, some conversations. I don't know if you know anything about it, but the report was that Mark Richt actually did reach out to him, which might be causing some problems with N'Kosi Perry and others that are on that roster. If Kelly Bryant does come here, how does Rick convince these guys to stay put and be patient?
I don't know if you can convince N'Kosi Perry to stay, because look what he's had to deal with all this year. He had to deal with, he played well. He's been helping beat Florida State, and then he gets benched early against the Virginia Cavaliers, and just kind of been the merry-go-round there at the quarterback position. And now he has to be benched for Kelly Bryant, who's come in there just for a year for a stopgap. I don't know if he wants to do that. And also, you got a 5-star recruit in Jaron Williams from Florida area as well. A lot of people are talking about him being a starter next year. What happens with him? Does he decide to transfer? Does he want to be the third-string quarterback there at the University of Miami, considering the circumstances? So, yeah, Kelly Bryant may come there. He may give you a short-term solution, but but after that, then you got to rely on Perry and Williams, and that's going to be Rick's job to try to convince them to stay patient. And I don't know if he can do that, especially considering the season that they had.
I can't. I mean, Antoine, listen, you're around the Miami Hurricanes. You followed them all year long. I have a hard time believing it's a talent issue on this team. And if it's not a talent issue, then it's a coaching issue. So then what is the biggest coaching issue with the Miami Hurricanes right now? Is it defensively? Have they taken a step back from what they did last year? Did they lose too many upperclassmen last year? Or is Mark Richt and his offense philosophy just not good enough anymore in the year 2018?
I think it's a combination of a lot of different things. I know they have talent there. They obviously recruit really well, but it's just part of it is, I mean, sometimes when you recruit these high-talented players, they don't turn out the way they're supposed to, especially on the offensive line. They recruited a lot of guys that they thought were going to be better make their offensive line that much better. You have no idea what these 4 or 5-star recruits are going to do once they get on campus. So it's partly talent. It's also the way that I think they're coaching the talent there. The offensive line coach has also been a question there in Miami. Mark Richt's son, John Richt, the quarterback coach, has also been in question, taking the beat there. And now you have some issues at the defensive side as well. They're not necessarily slowing down teams like they were early on in the season. They were on one ranked defense at one point in time. Now they're not anymore. So yeah, I think it's a combination of a lot of different things, but it definitely comes down to Mark Richt, and he's definitely going to have to figure out what he can do offensively. And his offense is just seeing like it's kind of stuck in the Stone Age now, and you're going to have to, I think it's in his best interest to hire an offensive coordinator that can come in and just put his own flavor on there on the offense. If you can't do that, you let somebody do that, then I think Miami might be in a constant state of winning 7 or 8 games a year. And I think that's what happened when he was at Georgia too, and I think that's part of the reason he got fired.
When you have this kind of ultimate failure, which is what the Miami Hurricanes have had this year, there's no way around it. Somebody's got to take the blame. There's going to be some fallout from this, and if you had to guess, where does the fallout begin? Is it offensive line coach? Is it offensive coordinator? Where do you think the dominoes fall? Because it's not going to be Mark Richt. We know that. But does Mark Richt, does he have to pull the plug, do you think, on some of these guys, or does he stay true to them?
Well, he's the play caller, so he's the offensive coordinator. So he can't fire himself. So he's got to figure out a way what he wants to do as far as play calling. So I think their offensive line coach could be the person to take the fall, because the fans want to see somebody get the blame. I don't know if that's necessarily going to be the solution, even though I think the offensive line has been a source of a lot of their problems, especially protecting the quarterback. But Mark Richt, I think it's his offense. I think it's the way he calls games. I know at Georgia he used to call plays, and then he hired an offensive coordinator. He got smart about that, and when he came to Miami, he said he wanted to call plays again. get back to the roots of what he did as an offensive coordinator back in the day with Florida State. But it's hard to be a CEO and be able to just look at the offense at the same time, because when you're a head coach, you have to look at the whole program and both sides of the ball, not just one particular side of the ball. And I think that also reflects the Miami Dolphins as well with Adam Gase. He's focused on the offense, and he's more of a offensive coordinator in my estimation instead of a CEO of a program or a head coach. And it's hard to do both. So very few guys can. I think even Andy Reid and some of the other great coaches have had hard times doing that. And you have to be able to willingly swallow your pride and decide what's the best interest for you and your football team. And I think those guys, both Adam Gase and Mark Richt, especially Adam Gase, are a little bit stubborn to do that.
Yeah, no, they are. And I don't want to leave this negative. Antoine Staley joining us, USA Today, Athlon Sports. But Antoine, give me one person on the Dolphins and one person on the Miami Hurricanes that has been a pleasant surprise this year, something that we can hang our hat on positive and go, what a great year they're having, and we can't take that away from them despite what the team is doing overall.
Well, for the Dolphins, it was Albert Wilson until he got hurt.
Yeah. And
then now I have to look at their only source of offense yesterday, Jason Sanders, the rookie.
Yeah.
A lot of people thought when Cody Parkey left, they thought it was a bad decision, and they drafted Jason Sanders, and they got criticized for it in the 7th round. But he's been a really good surprise for him, and Darren Rizzi in the special teams unit, which, by the way, is the best coach they have right now, by far. So yeah, he's done a great job in finding Jason Sanders, and he's only missed one field goal all year. He's been as automatic as it comes. So I think that he's been a pleasant surprise. You want to talk about the Miami Hurricanes? I would talk about Brevin Jordan. I think he's done a really good job in the tight end position. A lot of people thought when they suffered some injuries there to Michael Irvin II, it was going to be hard to get that production from that position, but I thought he's done a really good job for the Miami Hurricanes this particular year.
See, so there is some positives going on there, Dolphin fans, Canes fans. It's not all hot garbage, mostly hot garbage, but there is some positives there. Also, do yourself a favor, make sure you follow Antoine Staley there. I'm telling you, at Antoine Staley, great information. If you want info on the Dolphins, the Canes, UF, that's where to go. Head over to Athlon Sports and, of course, USA Today. You will find him. Antoine, much-needed semi-break here and a bye week for the Dolphins. Enjoy yourself. All right, get outside, play a little golf, and then we'll talk to you in a couple of weeks when all the drama kicks back up again, man. But thank you so much for coming by.
All right, that sounds good, Joe.
You got it. Antoine Staley, USA Today, Athlon Sports. And do yourself a favor here, guys. Honestly, make sure that you follow Antoine. He is about as good as it comes. He is definitely one of the pros. He does it. He's been doing it so long, following the Dolphins, following the Canes. Not an easy follow because these teams always end up they just self-implode at some point in the season. But he's done a great job of towing the line, keeping it in the middle, and telling it the way it is, and we appreciate his time. Antoine Staley, USA Today. I got to tell you, there's been some conversations going on in the chat room here with these lunatics, some things that I just cannot, for the life of me, figure out here. First of all, let's tackle this drink that you guys seem to be recommending. It looks like a whole bunch of consonants and a few vowels. Is it the Kiwamba, what is it? The Konashloppy Kiwa. I have no idea what that is, but apparently is that a coffee drink of some sort that kind of must clean you out because it sounds dangerous. We also want to welcome a couple of new people that are joining us across all the platforms. We're streaming live, guys, like we do each and every weekday, Monday through Friday, 4 o'clock. We come to you not only on Twitter, but Periscope, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, across all platforms known to mankind that will allow you to stream live. So we welcome you. And the lunatics that are in the chat rooms that join us and steal as much corporate time at the end of the day as humanly possible, and we love them for it. We got a new one here today who dropped by, and I think is the One True Pearl dropped in here today on YouTube and shared with us that I guess he once ripped ass at Wrigley Field. And I think it was because of the coleslaw. If I'm not mistaken, if I'm reading, it's very hard to follow this and actually do a show at the same time. So you guys in the chat rooms, you're making it even harder for me to be able to follow. But he did want to share that he did once go to Wrigley Field. He did rip ass. It was some sort of combination of the coleslaw, the hot dog, and a pretzel, if I'm not mistaken. None of it agreed with him, but he was sharing, and, you know, sharing is caring here on the Joe Ranieri Show, and that's what we do. And that is the kind of hard-hitting sports talk that you are going to get in the chat room with our lunatics in there. So we appreciate you guys very much. I do want to send a shout-out to, I do believe, Jonathan. Jonathan is joining us via the Facebook chat room, and Jonathan's got something really, if I can be serious with you guys here for just a second, Jonathan's got something going on here that wants me to pass along, and I'm going to go ahead and do this. It's called the Points for the Cure Football Edition. And for those of you Finns fans and those of you in the South Florida area, if you donate $5 rather, as the Dolphins scored, if they score, I guess, less than 20 points, the donation page is, we're going to go ahead and put it up here in the chat room for you guys to check it out. The money raised helps to attack cancer from every angle through research, education, advocacy, and services. And without a doubt, anything we can do, Jonathan, to pass the word and to help tackle cancer, for those of you that have ever had to deal with it in your life, it sucks, in a word. So if we can go ahead and raise and get as little as $5, which is great, that $5 will go a long way into helping attack cancer from just about every angle. So we'll go ahead and do that. Those of you that are on Facebook, he's got it up there. Those of you that are joining us on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, as well as Periscope, I'll get you guys the link. It'll be in the comment section, so make sure that you guys look for that. We do want to welcome a few newcomers that we have into the chat room, and Jenny's joining us in there. Christy, it's always good to see you. Alicia's hanging out in there, as well as Tommy, Frank, and Bobby. Tommy, Frank, and Bobby, I'm not sure if you guys are all together or stealing corporate time, but we want to thank you guys very much for coming in here. We are just getting started. Peter Kramer also joining us via the Facebook Live app. And Peter, happy Monday to you guys. If you're just joining us, you just missed Antoine Staley from USA Today talking about the Finns, talking about the Miami Hurricanes, and what an absolute disappointment those two teams have been. And I want to ask you guys a serious question, because I want your opinion. As hard as that is, believe, given the conversations that we just had to deal with in the chat room. But who is the next head coach to get fired in the National Football League? You guys can chime in there. You can also hit us up via the Miami Acura hotline. If you don't know what that number is, 855-983-2255 is how you reach us. That's 855-983-2255. As a Jet fan, and you guys know I'm a Jet fan, yeah, Todd Bowles has got to go. But I don't believe that Todd Bowles has to go now. But at the end of the year, Todd Bowles is a sitting duck. He's got to go. My hope would be that for some reason the Baltimore Ravens lose their mind, fire Harbaugh. Maybe Harbaugh would be available. But it doesn't make any sense to fire Todd Bowles right now. The Jets are what they are. I think if you can keep as stable an atmosphere as humanly possible around Sam Darnold right now, the only thing that matters this year is making sure that Sam Darnold progresses in the right way, because he is the future of that organization. But Todd Bowles is not going to be the future of that organization. You cannot get your ass handed to you by a dude who was working at Applebee's last week, okay, and then all of a sudden put on a damn uniform and lights you up for 265 and 2 touchdowns and makes you look ridiculous, all right? Matt Barkley, I'm pretty sure, brought me a bloomin' onion at the Outback 2 weeks ago, and somehow or another he made it out onto the damn field for the Buffalo Bills and put up 41 friggin' points against the New York Jets. So I can tell you right now, if there's any coach that does deserve to go after a monstrous beating, it would be Todd Bowles. But it makes no sense to do it right now. Do it at the end of the year, and this way you can see what other prospects and who will be available on the market to succeed him. But you got to get an offensive-minded coach in there. Not working, Todd Bowles. Sorry, I like the guy. I think he's a great defensive coordinator. I think he's a great defensive mind. But some guys just are not cut out for the head coaching position. Todd Bowles is definitely one of those guys. So I think Dirk Cutter in Tampa is another guy that is on the hot seat. I don't think it'll be much longer. He can't figure out between, the 35-year-old Harvard journeyman and Ryan Fitzpatrick. There is no more Fitzmagic, by the way. Okay, it's like the Easter Bunny. It doesn't really exist. You can't keep going back from Jameis Winston to Fitzpatrick and back to Winston. It makes absolutely no sense. He took over the play calling duties. It wasn't as if Tampa had a hard time figuring out how to score points. They've always scored points. I don't think that the issue was the offensive side of the ball. The issue has always been on the defensive side of the ball, but they fired Mike Smith, and who else are you going to fire now? So I think Dirk Cutter is also another one of those guys that is going to be on the way out. Not sure Adam Gase is going to lose the job due to the fact that all of the injuries that he's had this year. I know Miami Dolphin fans want him gone, and with good reason, but the truth is he's got a lot of built-in excuses. He's got a backup quarterback that's been riding half the season so far. Tannehill is hurt. Offensive line hurt, shredded, lost a couple of key pieces on defense. So Adam Gase might have bought himself a little time in order to be able to see if he can get another year or 2 years out of him. But Todd Bowles, Dirk Cutter, those guys, they got to go. Marvin Lewis, another ass whooping like that. It won't be that long before we start hearing the Marvin Lewis chants in Cincinnati. I do think that Chucky's not going anywhere. He's still joining us via the YouTube chat room. Chucky's not going anywhere. And I'll tell you, Chucky's not going anywhere because he's not doing anything that Mark Davis has not signed off on. Mark Davis gave him the keys to this franchise. It is a complete teardown. They don't give a rip. They are going to build a team from scratch, almost as if it was like a franchise team, a new expansion team opening up. They are doing everything in their power to cut costs, get rid of guys that they don't believe in. Everything they do from this point on is about the move to Las Vegas. They don't give a rip about this year or next year or really even the year after that. So don't kid yourself into thinking that Chucky is on the hot seat ever. He is not. This was all planned to begin with. Mark Davis signed off on this. Chucky knows he's going to be unpopular, but it wasn't about winning football games this year or next year for the Raiders. It's always been about dismantling this franchise, getting it in a position of cap space, getting draft picks, and getting ready to pack the bags and move to Las Vegas. So John Harbaugh, Jeremy, is definitely a guy that for some reason he's in one of those situations like Mike McCarthy is in Green Bay. Sometimes the voice just isn't being heard anymore. It's been there so long that maybe change is good. But I do think guys like Mike McCarthy and John Harbaugh will probably change will be a good thing, but I don't think they'll be unemployed very long. But I do think there's going to be 4 or 5 positions open, head coaching positions open once again in the NFL come this offseason. I'm not sure if anybody... Maybe Tampa Bay and Dirk Cutter will get the heave-ho prior to the season ending, but I don't think. I mean, you already fired your defensive coordinator. I'm not sure what else is going on there. Greg Williams won a game, so now Greg Williams is going to make a pitch for himself to stay in Cleveland as the head coach. Go figure. Listen. It's not like Cleveland hasn't looked 100 times better once they fired Hugh Jackson and all of a sudden Greg Williams taken over. They beat the Atlanta Falcons, who just can't figure out what they're doing. That's the Atlanta Falcons we know and love. Not the ones a week ago that ended up beating the Redskins on the road, but the one that we saw getting their asses handed to them by the Cleveland Browns on the road. That is the Atlanta Falcons that we have known to come to love there. So that is the Matt Ryan that we so desperately were looking for. I was looking for that Matt Ryan last week when I lost my ass taking the Redskins in that game, but unfortunately I was a week off because that was the Matt Ryan that showed up taking on the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland, and all of a sudden Baker Mayfield looks a little bit better. So Greg Williams might actually be in the conversation for Coach of the Year there for Cleveland. All right, we are coming up top of the hour here, 5 o'clock. It won't be long before our boy Vori swings by here in the chat rooms and starts screaming and yelling about his Oakland Raiders. But we do have a very important message from one of our cappers, rather. And you guys know I only bring quality on this show because the more and more people that reach out to me and touch base with me, these so-called professional handicappers, it is a head-scratching industry, boy. It's very unregulated, and anybody with a Twitter account can claim to be the greatest sports handicapper in the world, and unfortunately, they're probably taking people's money. And that's a shame because I have managed to find the good ones. I have managed to weed through all the shit and be able to bring you guys that actually know what they're doing, are the real deal, can be verified. And let's face it, they're a reflection on me. I wouldn't bring them on this show if I myself wouldn't spend my money and believe in them. And the captain, at Captain_capping, who over the last couple of weeks has been on a unbelievable run. I think 22-4 is what he was, or something along those lines. Just ridiculous. One of the truly good guys in the business. And he's going to join us here in just a minute because he's got a message, I think, that has to be said. If you guys dabble in sports betting at all, this is something you need to hear because a lot of people yesterday ended up losing their ass. A lot of people yesterday, especially Joe Public, we're not talking about the professionals. We're talking about guys that dabble in sports betting. They're the $5, $10, $20 better. And a lot of the favorites last week cashed out. Vegas, the sports book, lost their ass last week. Not so much this week because you had teams like Buffalo and Cleveland and the Cowboys last night. You had a ton of underdogs that ended up winning yesterday. The Tennessee Titans beating the New England Patriots, where a lot of the novice bettors, they got crushed yesterday. And unfortunately, they don't understand money management. They don't understand exactly what it means when we say that this is a marathon. It's not a sprint when you're looking at sports betting. A lot of people are complaining that they lost their bankroll in a weekend. Last weekend, yesterday was it for them. And it can't work like that, guys. It just can't work like that. So I want the captain to come on. He's got a message I think needs to be heard, and we're going to let you hear from him, as well as tonight's Giants 49ers MAC action, because it's like watching two MAC teams there. But he's got some thoughts on tonight's game, as do I. We'll share those with you. But more importantly, I want to be able to get this message out to you, all those that wager on sports, because it's a message you guys need to hear. We'll do that coming up in 1 second. We do, of course, have to thank a few other of our sponsors here, our friends at Low Cost Airlines. If you are planning on flying anywhere over the holiday season, do not go to the airline website. Simply call Low Cost Airlines. Get the best deal possible, 800-761-1427. And maybe a cruise is what you guys want to do. Maybe you're thinking about heading out, taking a cruise this holiday season, coming down to South Florida, heading out. Nobody better than Superior Cruise and Travel. 800-901-5536. That's 800-901-5536. Give them a call. Book your cruise through there. And, of course, our good friends over at Miami Acura. If you are in the market for a brand new car or a certified used car, there's only one place to go. That would be Miami Acura. Visit them, MiamiAcura.com, or call them at 855-564-4669. The captain at Captain_capping with a very important message for you. Coming up next. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back 60 seconds.
Back pain doesn't take vacations. It never celebrates holidays. It's on the job 24/7 to keep your life exactly where it is, in limbo. But it doesn't have to be that way, because Laser Spine Institute can help you take back your life from chronic neck and back pain. With a less than 1-inch incision, our minimally invasive procedures have provided relief to over 60,000 patients with a 97% patient satisfaction conversion rate. So get ready to stand tall and live the life you've imagined for yourself without pain. Are you or a loved one suffering from a bulging disc, herniated disc, spinal stenosis, pinched nerve, or degenerative disc disease? Call our spine care consultants now for a no-cost MRI review and to learn more. It's time to say goodbye to chronic neck and back pain. What have you got to lose? Laser Spine Institute, the leader in minimally invasive spine surgery.
Call 855-720-BACK. 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 That's 855-720-BACK.
Well, guys, it was an interesting weekend to say the least in both college football and the NFL, and I think it's time for a good reality check. And I thought it'd be great if we brought in one of our cappers here on the show, and I can't think of anybody who's been hotter or been better over the last couple of weeks than the captain himself, at Captain_capping. He joins us via the Miami Acura hotline. And first of all, congratulations on what has been an unbelievable role there, Captain. You've been absolutely on fire. However, we know, listen, in sports betting, it is a marathon. It's not a sprint. And everybody, there's going to be ebbs and flows. And this weekend, for a lot of cappers, not just yourself, yesterday was a interesting day to say the least. And I think it's a good time now to maybe talk about expectations versus reality. When you find a capper like yourself who might be on a unbelievable streak, and then all of a sudden maybe things don't go your way, 1 or 2 days during a week, talk to us a little bit about tempering the expectations and, more importantly, understanding bankroll.
Judge, first off, I just want to say I appreciate you having me on, man, and just acknowledging the run that we went on. Since last Sunday before yesterday, we were 21-2 over here on Twitter, man. It was something crazy. Won 14 in a row. Didn't lose from Monday through our last bet Saturday night on Houston. Houston got us. We're 6-0 Saturday, so 14 in a row. It was unbelievable, man. Sunday came out, and I think me and everybody else besides Vegas, kind of got their butt kicked a little bit. Went 2-4 yesterday. Had a tough beat last night. I think it was a $500,000 swing for Vegas, having the Cowboys cover that one. So, man, that was a tough one. All my reads, all my people's reads, we're on Philly. But man, let's cover the elephant in the room that you talked about, right? Up 20-plus units last week, lost 4 yesterday, and people freaking out, man. Freaking out. Bankroll management, something that I've talked about. I talked about the last time I was on here. You talk about all the time. It's the only way to win, right? Mm-hmm. Short-term memory, okay? Short-term memory in this sport goes 2 ways, right? It goes on your wins and it goes on your losses. All right, there's a difference in short-term memory but never forgetting kind of what you've seen in a game, okay? I've seen wins and I've seen losses, but it's how you come back from those, all right? That's really what matters. Now, the way I like to play and the way that my unit system is set up, now it's a little different for everybody, okay? Now, whether your bankroll is $1,000, $10,000, or $100 does not mean everybody has the same unit. Mm. All right, so I had a $1,000 a guy who's messaged me back and forth, $1,000 better. All right, he asked me what his unit should be. I told him $20. Mm-hmm. All right, he's kind of confused on what that means. Okay, so a unit, let's just go and get this straight, is between 1 to 5% of your bankroll, kind of depending on where you could go, an amount that you can comfortably lose, right, and not rip the house down. Okay. You're not betting out of your own pocket. Okay, you're betting out of a bankroll. So basically, man, at $20, if you would have lost 3 units on the Eagles last night, you lose $60. Right. Now, who's freaking out over $60? If you're freaking out over $60, then just go work at McDonald's and we can figure something else out later. Okay.
And I think it's also important, and the captain is joining us at Captain_capping. If you're just joining us, we're talking about expectations. We're talking about the expectations of sports bettors versus the cappers and what the reality of the situation is. And a lot of times there's going to be ebbs and flows in this business. You can't always be right. And we know the very best of the best in this business are right around 53.5%, 54% of their bets. That's what they're winning on a year-long basis. And when you can win 54, 55% of your bets, you are ahead of the game. So it's understanding that Rome wasn't built in a day. Your bankroll is really where you've got to concentrate, understanding that over the long haul, blowing it all in one weekend doesn't do you, the capper, doesn't do any of us any good if you're not disciplined and understanding what's going on with the units and what you're betting and when you're betting it, Captain, right?
Absolutely, man. I'm going to say for new bettors out there, or for people that are really trying to understand this, I'd say one of the most important things that you could do is to grade your bets. Now, whether that's before, I prefer before and after. I think after is a must. Okay, look back. Right, confirmation bias is one of those things. I look back on one of the worst beats I've had a couple of weeks ago. It still kind of gets me a little bit. Is the Packers Mason Crosby missed 5 field goals.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you remember that one?
Yes.
They lost the game. They lost the game by 8 points. They outgained them by 300 yards. All right, I lost the game, but when I go back and grade that bet, that was a good bet. You just lost.
Right.
There's good bets that win and there's bad bets that win. So that's really what it comes down to. Okay, grade your bets before. That's why you play. You don't play everything the same, and you grade your bets after. But that was stupid. That was really good. I mean, that's just kind of things. Trust your numbers, trust your eyes, right, and go with your gut.
Yep.
So.
And understanding the units, too, because
Mm-hmm.
that's another thing, Captain. You've got these guys out there. They say 1 unit, 2 unit, 3 unit. You were just talking about a gentleman, for instance, one of your clients there is $1,000 better. You're telling him 1 unit is $20, okay? So understanding that the higher the amount of units, let's say you come out and you say, I got a 4 unit or a 5 unit play. Now, chances are that's a play that you are extremely confident in, and that's where you kind of go, all right, if I'm betting 20 for one, I'm going to be betting 100 on this particular bet, and limit yourself and understand that there's a big difference between a 1 unit play and a 5 unit play. Not everything is a 5 unit play.
No, you're exactly right. Now, the 1 unit and the 5 unit play. 5 unit plays are what we consider the best edge that we could find. This weekend, I had my second 5 unit play, and I'll just tell you this was on the brink of being one of the worst beats I've ever seen. I had MTSU, Middle Tennessee, minus 13.5.
Mm-hmm.
They were up 48-18 in the fourth quarter. Ended up winning the game by 16 points.
You were sweating, dude. You were sweating.
They were up 48-18 in the fourth quarter. UTEP goes down and scores, gets the 2, scores again, gets the 2, gets the onside kick. The next time, they scored 3 times in a row to cut the game to 16. Got the ball back, and luckily went 4 and out. But that's what I'm talking about. I mean, that would have been a good bet that happened to get beat.
That is
but luckily,
so important.
Luckily I won.
Yeah, but that's also so important to understand, though. You got to know these 5 unit plays, they don't come around often. When they do, if you're going to take a chance or maybe throw a little extra something at it, those are the kinds of plays to do it. But understanding that 1 unit plays are not 5 unit plays. And by the way, if you are not in this for the long run, then chances are you should save your money and go play lotto, because you got a better chance at actually winning doing that than you do at this. So you've got to have an understanding of what's going on here and temper the expectations. If there's one thing we want to try to get across to bettors here, is that you have to temper expectations. When the captain says 1 unit, or any one of the cappers that you guys follow or that you guys use, 1 unit plays are just that. They're 1 unit plays, and if all you're getting is 1 unit plays all day, if you win 10 of them and lose 8 of them, guess what? You still won. That's the whole point. That's the whole point of doing it, is you want that over the course of a week. You want to be up 2 units, 4 units, 5 units. That's how you accumulate the money. So when that 5 unit play comes, Captain, then you've got a little extra something in the bankroll to go, all right, let me go a little further on this one than I normally would.
Yes, absolutely, guy. And if you guys go back and look, for our listeners at my Twitter, kind of back in the archives, I do a weekly recap every single week. Now, my week ends on after Mondays, right? Monday, you get Monday Night Football, and then college basketball rolls around. You go Big Monday. So starting on Tuesdays are my new week. I tweeted this out from the first time, and I kind of retweet this every week with an update. My goal as a long-term capper is 4 units a week. And now that's my personal goal, right? If you look, and the reason I do that is for $100 bettors, $100 unit bettors. 4 units a week is a little over $400. That brings in a little over $20,000 in the year. In the long run, over 52 weeks. So that is my goal. But now what people don't understand is they freak out when you don't win 4 units. Say if I don't win 4 units next week, they're like, how are we going to get there? And I'm like, well, the week before we won 26.
Yes, exactly.
So it evens itself out.
Yes, you are looking over a 52-week period is what you guys have to understand. You may go a couple of weeks where, you lose 2 units, you lose 3 units, but don't worry about it because the next 3 weeks you could win 6 units, you could win 4 units, you could win 3 units, and guess what? At the end of the month, you're up. And really, even if you want to look at it on a monthly basis, 12 months out of the year, after those 30, 31 days. Are you up 2 units? 4? Like you said, your goal is 4 units. So, are you up 4 units a week, 16 out of the month? Are you up 12? Are you up 10? As long as you're up, you're heading in the right direction. And you know what? If you're not, okay, there's still 11 more months for you to be able to make it right.
Exactly. I'm telling you, man. Like I said, trust your numbers. I also, one big thing, I see people that play a million plays on Twitter. I see people that play 1 play, a day on Twitter. I don't believe in there's a right or wrong amount of games to bet per weekend, per day. I believe that if you find an edge, no matter if it's, 2 D3 schools playing that they put a lineup for the Monday night football game tonight, if you find an edge, bet it. And if there's no games that day, I didn't make a play last Friday, then I made 8 on Saturday.
Yes.
So, there's not a right or wrong amount of games to bet. If you find an edge, fire that thing. If you don't, then there's nothing wrong with you're just watching games at night, hanging out, maybe, turning sports off for a little while, whatever you think that you need to do.
And that, and that's another thing that we should say. And the captain is joining us at @captain_capping on Twitter. And we're going to get to how you guys can actually join up with him and utilize his knowledge and his system of units and all of that good stuff. But don't be afraid to ask questions either, especially for you new bettors, okay? Don't just assume anything. If you don't understand what you're betting or if you don't understand the unit measurement and what they're talking about, don't ever be afraid. And I think at least the guys that I bring on this show, this is how they work. I can't speak for everybody, but I can promise you that the cappers we have on this show are all available to you 24/7. If not, they are always going to be available to answer your questions. So don't ever feel intimidated or feel like you can't ask a question, Captain. If you don't understand, ask the question, correct?
Absolutely, man. My DMs are always open on Twitter. Please, I'm in constant conversation on people. Even if I don't like to play, even if I'm not playing the play, if you want to lean on a game, I'm always kind of open. I've talked, especially when you're my clients. I love to talk with you. If you like, somebody tonight that I might not be on, I'll give you my point of view. So, I'm always very open. And willing to just talk sports, man. There's nothing really better.
All right, now tell us exactly if somebody is interested in joining up with the captain at @captain_capping on Twitter. What do they got to do? How do they do it? Come on, point us in the right direction. What's going on?
Yeah, man. If you just want to go to my Twitter, like you said, that's @captain_capping. Kind of look through my stuff, man. My record in my year to date is right on the top. Everything is documented on there, even my losing days like I had yesterday and the great runs that we had this week, all right there, man. All you got to do is I tweeted out our packages, man. They're pretty cheap. If you want to be a long-term bettor, you could afford to play with me. It's just $30 a week, $100 a month. That's one bet for most people.
Yep.
And if not, that's literally it. Be willing to put in. Okay, you pay for what you get. All right, so if you're willing, then come over to me. Just slide in the DMs there. I think as the people say these days, and I'll get you all set up, man. I'm very straightforward. I've got a private Twitter that all my plays are posted on there that we can talk openly through people that are interested in long-term winning and want to have a little side cash. That they've got bankroll, they want to win. That's who I deal with. Those are the people that I want to long-term go with. And that's kind of how we're going to win, man.
Yeah, that's it. So let them reach out to you, DM you at @captain_capping. Go to Twitter, DM them, tell them you're interested, the package prices, How affordable is that? $50 a month, and like he said, you can't afford $50 a month. I mean, that's a bet for that's a half a bet for some people over there. You probably shouldn't be betting anyway. And listeners, give him a shot. Give it a shot. I mean, what's the bottom line? A couple of weeks. If you would have joined him a couple of weeks ago, right, you would have went on a 22-2 run, and you'd be beside yourself right now. So timing is everything, but it's cost versus, return on your investment, and you have to look at it. Is it worth investing and seeing what the captain has? He wouldn't be on this show, guys, if he wasn't the real deal. I can promise you that. It's certainly worth giving the captain a run. It's certainly affordable enough. Just keep in mind expectations. Temper the expectations. Understand this is a marathon. This is not a sprint. And chances are at the end of 30 days, if you're with the captain, your investment of that $50 will be, how do I say it? You'll be laughing at the end of the 30 days. I think that's a pretty safe way to put it, hasn't it?
I appreciate you saying that, Joe, man. And I go on to tell you that all you got to do is just come over and invest with me. I'm willing to say that if you're with me for 30 days, bet my system, and you're down, we can figure something out to get you that $100 back. That's not a problem.
Yes, no, it's really not a problem there. Now let's talk about tonight. There is a game I believe it's an NFL game. Some people might argue that, but it is the Giants taking on the San Francisco 49ers. I think at last look, we're looking at the Giants still getting 3 here, going up against Nick Mullen and the 49ers. Is that correct?
That is correct, man. I'm looking. I think the total is still right around 45 in this one. 40. It's actually. I think with public money, this thing's pushing towards 3.5, trending towards 3.5 for the 49ers in this battle of mid-major college teams. So
now, is there a side you like one way or the other? Are you leaning one way or the other tonight?
Let me just throw you a couple of nuggets here at this game. All right, San Francisco is actually 26-6 against the spread in their last 32 Monday night games. Now, if that means anything to you, I just wanted to throw that out there. Mm-hmm. Some numbers, like I said, get your numbers that you like for people, roll with them, okay, and trust your eyes. They're 0-4 against the spread in their last 4, coming off a win. Nick Mullins making his second start. He looks great against the Raiders. Take it as you want, the Raiders. If you look at this matchup head-to-head, the road team and the underdog is 4-1 against the spread in the last 5. Dude, this is a tough one just in the aspect of both teams are not any good. Okay? Now, you look at one game. I don't think San Francisco, with this record and this team, has any kind of home field advantage tonight. Right? I take home field advantage away. It'll be pretty warm weather in San Francisco. It'll be fine out there. When I look at these games, man, I look at, you add 3 points for home field advantage. I'm taking a quarterback in this one, and Eli Manning over a guy making a second start. You look at the skill positions, Odell Beckham, Saquon Barkley over San Francisco. Everything matches up well. The defense, the only advantage I think San Francisco has their young tight end. Kittle's a stud.
Yeah, he is.
He's a stud, man. I think he can make some noise tonight. If you're looking at kind of like prop bets or anything like that, I would say I'm not sure what his numbers are, his over/under. Yards are. I'd say they're around 60 or so. I'd just a roundabout guess. I'd say he'd have a good night against that team. But if I had a lean there, it'd definitely be the Giants with the points. I'd say the money line is around 150. I would definitely lean there as well.
Yeah, I would look money line, and I do think there's actual value. As much as I hate to say this, there is value betting Eli Manning and the New York Giants tonight. Whatever you witnessed last week with Nick Mullins was wonderful, but now the New York Giants had a week to prepare and have tape on Nick Mullen. The guy balled last week against the Raiders, but like any other rookie quarterback, this is big boy football. It is the NFL, and you're giving that defense and those defensive coaches on the Giants some tape now to be able to go back and look, and it's not going to be nearly as easy for him as it was last week. So I'm with you. If you're going to bet a 1 unit tonight, then I'd look to go with the money line at plus 150. I think there's solid value in that bet tonight. I agree with you 100% there, Captain.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So there it is, man. And I think you hit the nail on the head. I'm telling you, once teams in the NFL get a week to scout you and a week to tape you, things drastically change. The best advantage the 49ers had last week is no one in the world has heard of Nick Mullins, including the Raiders.
And bet your ass, because don't forget, Nick Mullins was a last-second entry into that game when nobody knew whether or not Beathard was going to be able to play right up until last. I can promise you, every football this kid has thrown in a game since Pee Wee football was on the desk of the New York Giant coaches. They know every tendency from this kid. They've already watched every college game, every middle school game, high school game. They're going to know Nick Mullins left and right here tonight, Captain.
Absolutely. Let me tell you one thing here, one little nugget that I'm going to have. I'm not sure. Most people are probably thinking about this. The 49ers, and their coach is completely safe. He's not on any hot seat. Everybody understands what happened with Garoppolo. He had McKinnon go down, all that good stuff, man. But now we look over at the Giants and we say the same thing. They're going to probably have to play this game to win a little bit more than the 49ers are.
Yep.
I think in the longevity, one coach is playing for his job and the other one's not.
Yes, I agree with you. I think there's some definite value. Eli and the boys taking on them 49ers. I can't even believe I'm saying it, but I'm taking Eli. I'm going with the money line. He is the captain at captain _ capping. That's where you guys got to go. Take advantage of the knowledge, guys. Certainly affordable to be able to jump on the team there, get on that captain train, and don't be afraid to ask questions. But also, don't be afraid to understand that Rome wasn't built in a day. Just because you had a bad day, I think what he said was perfect. Short-term memory. Whether it's good or it's bad, you got to have short-term memory, move on to the next night, and nobody does it better than the captain. So make sure you guys head over there at captain _ capping. Take advantage of his picks. You guys can join him. He joins us every week here. He's an awful lot of fun, and he's one of the good guys, one of the honest ones in the industry, and you know how much shit is out there. And he is truly one of the good guys. So take advantage at captain _ capping. Captain, always a pleasure to talk to you, my friend. We'll do this again later on in the week.
Absolutely, Joe. I appreciate you guys having me on, and good luck to all us degenerates out there.
That's right. Degenerates rule. At captain _ capping. Make sure you guys head over there and follow. Yeah, we can't thank him enough. He'll join us again on Wednesday, as a matter of fact, for our Mac Game of the Week. He joins us each and every Wednesday. Captain _ capping, one of the truly good guys in the biz. Great stuff. Unbelievable run this month. I mean, 22-2. It was unbelievable. Guys who hooked up with him have been making an awful lot of money. Good guy, quality guy, definitely somebody I would highly recommend, which is why we have him on the show. And also some great information there and understanding your bankroll and how to bet. Betting is, when it comes to sports betting, guys, that's 80% of it right there. 20% of it is you do a little homework, you try to give yourself the best edge possible. But if you don't understand how to bet, you're going to be out before you know it. And if you're not willing to do this in the long term, then chances are you probably shouldn't be doing it. If you're just going to bet one game every 6 months to make it a little more interesting, so be it. But if you guys are looking to be a consistent sports bettor, then understanding your bankroll and understanding how to bet is so paramount in order to be able to get success. And that's why having guys like the captain on this show, that's what we're doing here. We're trying to bring you the best of the best in order for you guys to kind of weed through the crap and you don't get scammed. And because there's a lot of crap out there, you guys know this that have been looking. You want to find yourself a handful, a half a dozen or so of guys that you can truly trust and guys that'll do right by you, and you'll find them here on the show. And we want to thank the captain for coming by. Also, Antoine Staley, USA Today. If you missed any of that interview, you guys make sure you head back. Some great information on the Miami Dolphins and the Miami Hurricanes, and truly just what a disappointing season it is with both of these teams. But he gave us some great insight into those teams. Make sure that you guys check that out over at USA Today and Athlon Sports. And coming up tomorrow, the fun continues. Our man, the myth, the legend, Ralph Michaels. He'll be joining us. Why? When it comes to college basketball, nobody does it better than Ralph Michaels. In fact, our friends over at wagertalk.com, if you guys head over there today, do not forget it is $9. That's right, $9 Monday, which means every package just $9 right now, including 2 of Ralph's Cal Sports college basketball plays, just $9. He's a solid 60% to start the college hoop seasons. He'll join us again tomorrow for our college basketball preview show. That is right. He's going to swing by here 4 o'clock. We're going to talk college hoops. He's going to talk to us about some of the things and some of the analysis of the games that he's seen thus far from teams. And we'll look ahead to not only tomorrow night's games, but the rest of the week, some of the games that interest him and why. Great information for you coming tomorrow with the man himself at Cal Sports LV on Twitter. Make sure you guys follow him, Ralph Michaels, wagertalk.com on the show tomorrow. And then we'll follow it up. The captain will join us again on Wednesday talking MAC football. We are loaded. The Prez, he'll be on also. Jersey Kid Picks, he's going to stop by, talk about a guy that's been killing it in the NBA and the NCAA college basketball season. Jersey Kid Picks on fire. He'll stop by for his 2-minute drill. So a lot of fun stuff, a lot of great things happening here on the Joe Ranieri Show. Certainly hope that you guys, if you liked it, please, the support simply by hitting subscribe, hitting like, retweeting, telling your friends about it. Bring them here. If you know anybody that bets on sports, anybody who loves to talk sports, this is definitely going to be the show for you guys. There is no way we would steer you wrong. The guys that we have on here are the best of the best. You'll always know you can count on the handicappers that are on this show. So come back and join us tomorrow, Ralph Michaels, college basketball. Make sure you guys hit me up, too, on Twitter, at Joe Ranieri. Make sure you guys follow me there. You'll always have the weekly lineup of what cappers are coming on when, what games we'll be talking about, so you'll always know when to tune in and what you'll see. So on behalf of uwager.eu, want to thank them, wagertalk.com, Miami Acura, also Thrive Fantasy. Big announcement coming with Thrive Fantasy. If you guys haven't tried that yet, it'll change. You'll never go to FanDuel and DraftKings again. We're going to have a live Thursday night show showing you guys all about Thrive Fantasy, how you can take advantage of it, how you get involved. I've scored big time all weekend long by using it and playing in it, and I'll never go to FanDuel or DraftKings again. So make sure that you guys check my Twitter handle here. Make sure you check my Twitter feed. I've got some great stuff on Thrive Fantasy, including a link that you guys can use in order to be able to get a match back in your first deposit up to $10, and that's really all that you need. When you guys try it, you'll never go back to FanDuel and DraftKings, I promise you. But something really special happening this week. Thursday night, we'll have a live broadcast, live in-game broadcast just before setting our lineups up. Once you guys check out Thrive Fantasy, you'll never go back, I can assure you. So have a great night. As usual, thank you to the lunatics in the chat rooms again, Jeremy and Jordan, and thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Hesil. Even the poor guy that ate the coleslaw at Wrigley Field, and he's still paying for it. One Pearl there, I think it is, or Brown Pearl. What's his name? Something Pearl. Doesn't make a difference. He'll be back, too. Welcome to the family. You guys rock. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day. Come back and join us tomorrow. The man, Ralph Michaels, college basketball. We'll talk to him then. Have a great night. Thanks so much.